people around the United States have a misconception of what GMOs are and how they play a role in our society. They have been around for years. According to Paul Solomon of WGBH Boston, since the 1920s, Americans have been trying to crossbreed plants for their strongest traits. They began with corn, taking the plant that needs the least amount of water to grow and breeding it with high-yield plants that could adjust or adapt to different environments. Some people think they are good for our food, and others have a tough time dealing with the image they put in our heads, such as the tomato with the syringe in it. It can also be noted that people find it unnatural and unhealthy. In order to get an idea of what my audience knows about GMOs, I decided to ask my participants what they think a GMO is. Here are some of their responses.
Genetically modified something. I don't know what the O is.
Something that's injected into food that makes it bigger and taste better.
I think it's just like unhealthy stuff. It's like processed or something. I know Chipotle has non-GMO products. That's about it.
Bacteria, something to do with science. I'm not sure.
Well, a GMO is a mutated food, plant, or animal with altered DNA to produce it at its best quality. Most participants were unsure as to what these were. This is also a sort of breeding mechanism, such as taking the best traits from another species in order to produce the ideal outcome. As of right now, it is difficult to see the outcome for long-term effects of genetically modified organisms and how they have an effect on society. According to ABC News, genetically engineered crops are designed to be resistant to diseases and insects, or make them tolerant to herbicides. Most people may argue that it is unethical to mutate a natural organism, while others may see the benefits in doing so. I asked some participants if they thought GMOs were good or bad. Here are some of their answers.
I think they're bad because they put them in food, I think, or they are like genetically modified foods that are bad for us because they're not natural.
I think it's good because it produces more food for humans.
I think they're bad. I'm assuming they're like, it means like processed food and stuff like that, and chemicals and whatnot.
They sound bad only because it's just the word GMOs. You have GMO, yeah, bad.
The answers had varied. There are a lot of mixed feelings about GMOs. The World Health Organization notes no effects on human health has been shown as a result of consumption of such foods by the general population. Some benefits from GMOs include healthier, longer-lasting foods, better taste, and also bigger products. For example, my dad had worked most of his college life in the produce section of a grocery store. He says that there are only a few selections of apples to choose from. Now, he is almost 50 years old and is in awe at the dozens of different types of breeds that are made. Off a tree, apples could be seen about the average size of a baseball, and in stores can now be seen as large as a softball or even a grapefruit. These modifications have made our food much larger over the years. Just a few years ago, Hawaii had used GMOs in order to benefit them. The papaya farmers in Hawaii had the ideal climate and environment for growing all kinds of fruits. That is, until the late 1940s, when the papaya ring spot virus appeared. This had infected over 50% of papayas in Hawaii. Over the course of 1993 to 2006, over 12 years of research and testing, they had developed a species of papayas that were resistant to the disease. In order to do this, they indeed used GMOs. What we have here are a lot of imported agricultural products, such as corn, soybeans, and squash. Each of these come from farms all around the world. For most products, there are a large number of individual farms that produce one certain product, each contributing a small portion of the global market. The farmers have very little say over what price they can charge for their harvest. There is a market price that needs to be met, and if the farmers are unable to meet this price, then their products don't sell. According to Films for the Humanities and Sciences, nearly half of America's corn and soybeans are now genetically modified organisms. You may think of your local fast food restaurant, Chipotle. Just last year, this restaurant was slammed for many health and food violations. In conclusion, Chipotle announced that they had removed all GMOs from their natural ingredients. Chipotle also states that the food we serve should be made with ingredients raised with care for animals, farmers, and the environment. We're doubtful that this GMO ingredients that used to be in our food meet this criteria. Prior to this withdrawal of GMOs, most of their issues could be found in ingredients such as corn, soy, that is mainly found in their tortillas. You may be wondering why this matters to you. Well, genetically modified foods are everywhere. You eat them all the time without realizing it. According to Pamela Ronald, a plant pathologist from the Institute for Food and Agricultural Literacy, genetic modification is not new. Virtually anything we eat has been genetically modified in some sort of manner. Next time you bite into a delicious meal, take a second and ask yourself, what are you really eating?